Tired of seeing the same old Porsche recommendations? Imagine discovering a Porsche that delivers incredible performance and driving pleasure, but without the typical price tag or cliché. Join me as we uncover the unsung heroes of the Porsche world, proving that the best driving experiences often come from the most unexpected places. First off, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the 911 in the garage. Porsche's iconic 911 has dominated the spotlight for decades, and for good reason. It's the benchmark for sports cars, with its rear engine layout, timeless design, and blistering performance. But in the shadow of this legend, there are other models that pack just as much punch, if not more in certain ways. These overlooked gems get overshadowed because they're not the poster child of the brand. Maybe they were introduced during a transitional era, or they catered to a niche that wasn't appreciated at the time. But trust me, their inherent brilliance shines through once you look closer. Take a step back and think about why this happens. The 911's aura is so strong that anything else seems like a compromise. Yet models like the Cayman or the early Cayenne offer unique experiences, mid-engine balance for razor-sharp handling, or SUV versatility with Porsche DNA. They're not lesser, they're different. And in a world where diversity in driving is key, these deserve their moment. Now, let's talk about how the definition of a classic Porsche is evolving. Back in the day, classics were air-cooled, rear-engined purists from the 60s and 70s, but the market is shifting. With electric vehicles on the horizon and emissions regulations tightening, water-cooled models from the late 90s and early 2000s are gaining traction. Collectors are realizing that these represent a pivotal era in Porsche's history, the transition to modernity without losing soul. The classic label isn't just about age anymore. It's about cultural significance, rarity, and driving purity. Forums like Renlist and Pelican Parts are buzzing with discussions on how these newer models are becoming collectible. Prices for well-maintained examples are stabilizing or even ticking up, especially as supply dwindles. And here's the urgency factor. Now is the time to act. Current price trends show these models at their sweet spot, affordable enough for entry-level enthusiasts, but on the cusp of appreciation. For instance, data from sites like Bring a Trailer and Hemmings indicate that values for certain overlooked Porsches have risen 15 to 20% in the last 2 years alone. Why? Restorations are getting pricier, parts are becoming scarcer for older models, and a new wave of buyers is entering the market. With inflation and global interest in vintage cars, these could double in value within 5 years. If you wait, you might miss the boat. The impending rise is driven by scarcity. Many were daily driven into the ground, leaving pristine ones as rarities. Plus, with Porsche's heritage events like Luftgekult expanding to include more modern classics, the hype is building. Don't sleep on this, the window is closing. Alright, let's get to the meat of it, the contenders. These are the models I believe are the overlooked gems ready to shine. We'll start with the Porsche 987 Cayman and Boxster, specifically the manual versions. The 987 generation, produced from 2005 to 2012, is often dismissed as the entry-level Porsche. But oh boy, is that a mistake. The Cayman, with its mid-engine layout, offers handling that's arguably better than some 911s. It's balanced, agile, and telepathic on twisty roads. The Boxster, its convertible sibling, adds open-air fun without compromising much on rigidity. Opt for the manual transmission. It's a 6-speed with short throws and precise shifts that make every drive engaging. Power comes from a flat-6 engine ranging from 245 HP in base models to 320 HP in the S variants, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds for the S, and top speeds over 160 miles per hour. But it's not about numbers, it's the feel. The steering is communicative, the chassis responsive, it's a purist's dream. Why underrated? At launch, it was seen as a threat to the 911, so Porsche detuned it slightly. But now, with prices starting around $20,000 for a decent example, it's an accessible entry into Porsche ownership. The purest appeal lies in its simplicity. No turbos, no hybrids, just raw driving pleasure. I've driven one on the tail of the Dragon, and it was pure bliss. Next up, the Porsche 996 Carrera. The controversial one. Produced from 1998 to 2004, this was the first water-cooled 911, and purists hated it for ditching the air-cooled engine. The fried egg headlights didn't help either, but time has been kind. The stigma is fading as people realize it's a genuine performance bargain. Classic 911 lines with modern reliability? Yes, please.
Under the hood, a 3.4-liter or 3.6-liter flat six, pumping out 300 to 320 horsepower. It's quick, with a 0 to 60 in about 4.8 seconds, and that signature Porsche howl. Handling is sharp thanks to the rear engine setup, and it's more forgiving than older air-cooled models. Prices? You can snag a solid Carrera for $25,000 to $40,000, way below air-cooled equivalents. As the water-cooled era gains respect, these are turning heads in collector circles. Special trims like the 40th Anniversary Edition add uniqueness with GT3-inspired bits. Last but not least, the first-gen Porsche 958 Cayenne GTS from 2011 to 2014. Wait, an SUV in a classics discussion? Hear me out. This is the ultimate performance SUV before they became commonplace. A 4.8-liter V8 with 400 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and sport-tuned suspension make it a beast on and off-road. It handles like a sports car despite its size. Think 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds and a top speed of 160 miles per hour. Why overlooked? Cayennes were seen as grocery getters, diluting the brand. But the GTS variant, with its aggressive styling, lowered stance, and quad exhausts, is starting to attract collectors. Prices hover around $30,000 to $50,000 for low-mileage examples. In enthusiast groups, it's praised for blending utility with thrill. Tow your track car, then lap the circuit. As SUVs gain classic status, look at early Range Rovers. This one's poised for growth. If you're loving this deep dive into underrated Porsches so far, do me a favor, smash that like button if you've learned something new, and subscribe for more automotive insights like this. Hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. And in the comments below, tell me, what's one overlooked Porsche model you think deserves more love? Drop your thoughts, and I'll reply to as many as I can. Let's keep the conversation going. So, what elevates these models from used cars to future classics? Let's break down the criteria. First, driving dynamics and purity. These Porsches excel in driver engagement. The 987's mid-engine setup provides an unadulterated feel, no electronic nannies overpowering the experience. You feel every nuance of the road through the wheel. The 996 retains that classic 911 pendulum swing, but with refined water cooling for consistency. And the Cayenne GTS? It connects you to the road in a way no other SUV does, blending power with poise. It's about the connection, that smile-inducing rush when you nail an apex. Second, limited production and unique trims. Rarity matters. For the 987, manual transmissions are becoming scarce as automatics dominated later models. Special editions like the Cayman R or Boxster Spider with lighter weight and track focus are gold. The 996 had limited runs like the Millennium Edition, and finding one with the IMS-bearing upgrade adds value. The Cayenne GTS had lower production numbers than base models, especially with options like the Sport Chrono package. These unique configs elevate their status, making them sought after. Third, design and era significance. Each model defines a period in Porsche's history. The 987 represents the mid-2000s push for accessible sports cars, with clean lines that age gracefully. Think curvious fenders and pop-up headlights on the Boxster. The 996 marks the water-cooled revolution, bridging old and new with its controversial yet now iconic aesthetics. The 958 Cayenne GTS embodies the early 2010s SUV boom, showcasing Porsche's engineering prowess in a new segment. Technologically, they introduced advancements like variable valve timing and advanced AWD systems, paving the way for today's lineup. Owning one isn't just about the drive, it's practical too. Let's talk realities. Maintenance. These aren't cheap, but they're manageable. For the 987, common issues include IMS bearing failures, get it replaced preemptively for $1,500 to $2,000, and oil leaks. Parts are plentiful via Porsche dealers or aftermarket like FCP Euro. Annual costs around $1,000 to $2,000 for routine stuff. The 996 shares the IMS woe, but post-2001 models are safer. Water pump and coolant issues pop up, but fixes are under $1,000. Cayenne GTS, watch for air suspension failures, $2,000 fix, and transfer case wear. Overall, parts availability is excellent since they're modern. Finding the right one. Start with a pre-purchase inspection from a Porsche specialist. Budget $300 to $500. Check for accident history via Carfax, verify mileage, and test drive extensively. Reputable sources, auctions like Bring a Trailer, forums like Porsche Club of America Classifieds, or dealers like Champion Porsche. Look for documented service history. But remember, these aren't shelf queens. The joy of driving them is paramount. Take that 987 on a canyon carve, the 996 on a track day, or the Cayenne on a family road trip. They're investments you enjoy, not just park. Looking ahead, market speculation is exciting. Analysts from Hagerty and ClassicCars.com project 20 to 30% appreciation for these models over 5 to 10 years. The 987 could hit $50,000 plus for pristine manuals as manuals vanish. The 996 is already climbing, potentially rivaling 993 values. Cayenne GTS, as SUVs gain cult status, expects $60,000 plus for collectors. The next wave, younger generations, millennials and Gen Z, are discovering these via social media and games like Forza. They're affordable entry points, fostering appreciation for Porsche's diversity. So, call to action? Explore these now. Check listings, join clubs, and drive one. Before they become unobtainable classics, seize the opportunity. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.